Nevertheless, Ole Miss, Penn State, New Year's Six Bowl. Joe, I got to admit, I'm really intrigued by this game. Very intrigued by Ole Miss and Penn State. Penn State defensively, very good. Ole Miss offensively, really good. Penn State has some opt-outs on defense. Looks like some of the guys on Ole Miss, they're not going anywhere. So, with that being said, makes it very intriguing. Now, I will say this personally. I do not think that Penn State has even remotely come close to seeing an offense or team like this. Because, look, what does Ohio State want to do? What does Michigan want to do? They want to line up, run the clock, run the ball, huddle, do some different things. Bro, this is – I don't know, and maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know if they've played a team all year long that's going to be up-tempo, all over the place, motions, shifts. I don't know if this is not a – look, I'm going to get labeled an SEC homer here, okay? I don't think this is a good matchup for Penn State because if they're able to score, I don't know if Drew Aller, which, by the way, Ole Miss defensively was not bad this year. They were top 60, okay, in total defense. But we say, oh, their defense 6. Ole Miss used to constantly just be in the hundreds on defense. They were never good. They're good enough now defensively that if you're not able to score and Drew Aller's not able to score, Joe, I don't know if this isn't a really bad matchup for Penn State.
First of all, one of the reasons I picked this game because it felt like even though there's going to be opt-outs on both sides and by the time this game's played, I'm sure there's possibilities for more guys to maybe opt out. But it felt like we have two teams with good young cores that are still going to face off with one another. We get to see, assuming Trey Harris plays and Quinshon Judkins and Jackson Dart, we get to see that group face off against Katron Allen, Nick Singleton, and Drew Aller. I like this game, especially because Penn State notoriously plays really freaking well in their bowl games, their New Year's Six-ish bowl games. They always play their asses off in these games because they come out looking to prove something. They did it multiple times against Utah.
They literally did it last year.
Yeah, they are going to want to show a lot of offensive prowess, and they just hired a new offensive coordinator with Colt Necky from Kansas, which I doubt he calls plays. But they're going to want to.
I don't think that you can. I think that like you got to wait till the new year, something stupid like that.
I think that there is a capability for this game to be high scoring and highly contested. I think that with the closing, the curtain closing on the guys that were calling the plays for when Yursich left, those guys are going to want to show that they still have some play calling prowess. I really think that this game can be really fun and high scoring. It can be one of those ones where you're busy, you're not paying attention, and then you flip on the TV and it's like, it's 35-32 right now. There's that many points that have been scored in this game.
You think Drew Aller can score 35 points?
I think that they're just going to let loose. I think both these teams are going to let loose.
Well, look, last time that Lane had 10 wins in a regular season, was the last year that he had Matt Corral. And then Matt Corral went out and played in the bowl game. I think it was against Baylor.
Yes.
And got hurt. And then who's the kid at Illinois now? It was the
Altmaier.
Altmaier came in and didn't really have that great of a game. But, look, he was a backup kid, was young, probably – look, I'm not going to judge him off of that bowl game having to come in there. I just don't know if Drew Aller can – look, I used to be high – I was high on him. I thought that he could come in and do some good things. Maybe a month to prepare, maybe he can come in and do some good things. I ain't going to bet on it because I think Lane Kiffin and Jackson Dart and all these dudes also have something to prove. I get what you're saying. I agree with you on Penn State. Now, Penn State defensively, dude, number 1 rush defense – or number 3 rush defense in the entire country, number 1 total defense in the entire country. Look, Joe, I told you last year, I'm pretty sure it was during the offseason too, Manny Diaz, for what it's worth, he might not be a great head coach, and we've seen that. But, dude, my man can call plays on defense. They are a really good team defensively. But, Joe, they're 91st in the country in passing offense, okay? They are not good on third downs. They're 58th in the country on third down offensively. They're just not good there. And, Joe, it's not like, yes, do they play Michigan and Ohio State? Okay, cool. but against everybody else, they weren't great. I mean, Northwestern State's head coach is the coach of the year. Wouldn't he take that team like 7-5? I mean, like they struggled early against Northwestern, which, by the way, remember when people were making fun of Northwestern? They are actually going to a bowl game. How about that? Remember the beginning of the year? That was all of the talk, by the way. Remember when Pat Fitzgerald got fired? Nevertheless, I think Ole Miss is going to win this one. And I think it's just because Lane's going to come out and prove a point. And I just don't trust Penn State offensively to score enough. I really don't. Because when they've gone in these bowl games, they played a team like Utah. Joe, Utah had running backs out at corner last year. You remember that? Like they were so down at corner, they had dudes converting from running back.
Was that last year or 2 years ago when they played Ohio State?
That was last year because when did the
year? No, I think it was 2 years ago when Jackson Smith and Jigba had that 300-yard game.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
That was 2 years ago.
I thought that was last year. You're right. You're right. Regardless, this ain't Utah.
No, it's not. I think that the reason why I think that this is going to be a shootout, and I lean Ole Miss right now because they've got more of their core coming back and they've got better receivers. But I feel like Ole Miss's biggest weakness is their secondary, and we've seen that secondary exposed a little bit. And I also think that Ole Miss is going to have an easy time moving the ball because the secondary for Penn State and Chop Robinson, those guys, if they haven't all opted out yet, are probably going to opt out and not play in this bowl game. Just an assumption. No sourcing on that. I think that Ole Miss has an unencumbered time moving the ball down the field. But again, I'm really focused on the fact that the way that they played after they fired Mike Yurcich, I forget the name of the assistant that stepped in. I believe they had two that stepped in that were impacting the play calling. They scored 27 on Rutgers, which is a pretty good total against a strong defense, a bit unexpected that they scored that many points. And they hung 42 on Michigan State, which Michigan State sucks, but they still put 42 points up. They're going to do whatever they can. And I think that these are two very close, comparable teams. They're going to want to show that they have some prowess. I would love to see them get a little more creative with running the football instead of just running Katron Allen between the tackles and it not going anywhere. Be creative, let your hair down, go after him.
Yeah, James Franklin, you heard it here first. Let your hair down, buddy.
All right. Make sure you check out BetOnline for all of your sports betting needs. For anything that I do betting related, I go on over to betonline.ag and I use promo code BELIEVE50. BetOnline has all of the latest updated odds for the NFL and college football seasons. Anything you need, whether it's futures, live in-game betting, no matter what, your football betting needs are met at BetOnline. And again, make sure you use that promo code BELIEVE50, BLEAV50 to get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.